everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker and it is a beautiful day to talk all about Cricut and the hacks for Cricut crafting that I wish that I'd known sooner. So I have a list of my top 40 hacks to share with you today. I don't know if I'll get through all of them, but we're sure going to try. Because when I first began with my very first Cricut, I found myself doing lots of things the hard way, and I really wish that I had someone to tell me what to do and what shortcuts I could take, right? So I think that would have really helped me out and given me even more confidence to make more things in the beginning. But you know, as I say, I make the mistakes so you don't have to. And I have made it my mission to pass along what I know to help you go further faster than me. And I'm also going to share one super time-saving hack that I had totally forgotten all about and was reminded of it just a day ago, thanks to an awesome community member. I don't think you're going to guess what it is. You're welcome to try, of course. But I'm wondering if you have known about this all along, and I'm just the one that's just been not thinking about it, right? So please, everyone, pull up a chair here at my desk, and let's chat all about Cricut hacks, tricks, and tips. All right, so before we get started, I just want to welcome all of my Maker Academy weekend participants. This is a special class that I'm doing in preparation for Maker Academy weekend that starts now in less than a week. I'm super excited. Are you? We'll be using our Cricut cutting machines for many of our awesome craft projects. So I just wanted to chat about it and make sure we are all good to go. And everyone that's here, and even if you're watching the replay later on, you are invited to join us for free for our event. You can get a free ticket at makeracademy.com/weekend. Let's see if my little, it does work, yay. By the way, one of the reasons I do this a week before Maker Academy weekend starts is to practice all of my buttons and my cameras and everything, so it's smoother when we actually do it. So it's also prep for me. All right, so you can get a free ticket at makeracademy.com/weekend, and you will learn 18 amazing projects and have a fun crafty weekend with me. And I think there's nearly 50,000 other crafters who have signed up, and typically we have over 100,000. They don't all come to the live video or anything like that. That would be kind of insane. But, you know, they watch the replays and they get the free designs and all that cool stuff. All right, so let me put this away. Make sure I got it. All right. So the Cricuts are really cool cutting, drawing, foiling machines, and they take our crafts to the next level. I have nearly all of the models out here with me today. The Maker 3, the Explorer Air 2, behind me is Joy, the Joy Extra, the Cricut Explorer 3, and then the Venture is actually sitting right over here too. So whether your machine is fresh out of the box or you've been using it for years like I have some, I hope, valuable hacks, tips, and tricks for you. All of the things that I wish I had known sooner in my Cricut journey. If even just one of these proves helpful to you, then I will consider my mission today accomplished. All right, so let's get into it. The very first Cricut hack that I wished I'd known sooner was actually, it was the very first one that I encountered, okay? I would say it's the first one I encountered. And that basically is this. You do not need the latest machine or all the tools and supplies to start Cricut crafting. Did you hear me say that? Because this is really important. When I got my very first Cricut nearly 7 years ago, which is this one right here, I got the latest and greatest one that was available at the time, which was the Explorer Air 2. You know what? This machine still works like a champ. Over 7 years later, or nearly 7, I don't know, it was 2017? I guess we're at 7 years, 7.5 years. There are newer machines out there, like the Cricut Maker 3 and the Venture, but I still use my older ones when it's convenient. So if you are new to Cricut and you're thinking about getting one, I personally think their Cricut Explorer is a fine machine to start on, and it's often available for less money than the newer machines. Now, it won't do everything, no, but you know something, you may not really need that. In fact, all of the Cricut projects in this year's Maker Academy weekend event can be done with a Cricut Explorer machine. So this is my first hack. Don't spend all the money. Don't get all the stuff. Don't go for it, especially if you're new and you're not sure if this is really a thing that you're going to want to be committed to. Start small. It really starts small. It helps you too. It helps with that overwhelmed feeling. All right, my second Cricut hack is all about my first Cricut problem. After I unboxed it and started using it. So when I first got my Cricut over 7 years ago, I began making paper flowers. That was my first project. I loved making paper flowers. But after a few weeks, my Cricut wasn't cutting the cardstock well. So I figured, well, my blade must be dull. That makes sense, right? I'd used X-Acto knives and other knives in the past, and they would totally get dull. So off I went to the craft store to buy more blades. That worked for a couple of weeks until it didn't, and I started feeling a little salty about it. I'm like, how many new blades was I going to have to buy for this thing? So, always wanting to solve problems, I started looking around for ideas, and I stumbled across a tip for cleaning the blades instead of just buying new blades all the time, and it worked like a champ. In fact, I stopped buying blades altogether. In 7+ years, I think the only time I've ever had to buy new blades was for a video like this, where I'm talking about blades and showing you them in the packaging and saying, get this, don't get that, that kind of thing. I don't change my blades. I just clean them. I swear. It is just how it works, right? And a lot of people don't realize this. I often hear people say, I just got a new blade. I'm always thinking like, why? Just clean it. Okay, so how do you clean a Cricut blade so you don't have to keep buying new ones when things stop cutting well? It's actually pretty easy, and there are 2 methods. I'm going to show you both, and then I'm going to tell you which one I like the best. The first method is to use aluminum foil. Specifically, you'll note I just keep it right here, although it's stuck now, because I shoved it in there earlier. Maybe this one's easier to get to. There we go. A piece of household aluminum foil into a aluminum foil ball. And the other method uses your an alcohol. So I'm going to show you both, and I'm going to explain the pros and cons of them. And I'm going to try to bring my camera up a little bit closer, in fact, so you can see even better what I'm doing, because this is such an important tip. I want to be sure everyone knows what to do. So I'm going to bring my little portable, it's actually my phone. It's not that fancy. I'm going to bring it right here. And I'm going to switch to it in hopes that you can see it better. You can. There is my maker. Let's set it right here. All right, and we need our blade. I'm just going to take the one right out of the Cricut right now. So there is the fine point blade. Oops, there we go. Make sure I got my, there's the fine point blade, right? Okay, so the first method is to use a ball of aluminum foil. Just regular aluminum foil, which is right here. Let's get this all centered, okay? So all you do is you take your housing out of your clamp, you depress the plunger, which is this little bit right here. You just push this in like this. Make sure you can see that okay, right? And the blade sticks out, so always be careful, right? And then you poke your aluminum foil ball a few dozen times like this, okay? This is very easy, okay? What this does, it doesn't sharpen your blade, it cleans it, right? It's basically pushing the adhesive and glitter and whatever else you might have gotten onto that off the tip and essentially into the housing. Is basically where it's going. I mean, maybe some of it goes onto the aluminum foil ball, but I don't know how much. Okay, so the second method is to use alcohol. And you could just get a bottle of alcohol and a lint-free cloth, or you can get these little babies, which make it easier. They're just like alcohol prep pads. So to do this, we just get out a pad. I'll open that up. So here it is, right? I'm going to close this cover so you can see, because it's very bright. There we go. All right, so it's the same thing. You want to press that plunger down like this, and then very carefully use your alcohol, right? So again, you're just carefully removing the blade from your housing. I also recommend you blow off any debris that might be on the housing unit itself, which is the silver or the pink or the black part, right? And then you use your lint-free cloth or your alcohol prep pad and very carefully clean the blade, okay? So which one is best? This has actually been we don't have many controversial topics in the Cricut world, but I would say this has been one of late. So the aluminum foil ball is the fastest and simplest, and to me, because there's no need to keep the alcohol on hand or go find your alcohol bottle or worry about it. I also like that my hand stays further away from that blade when I'm doing the cleaning. Now, some people say that it can hurt the blade, actually like damage the blade, or it can push the glitter and adhesive up into the housing, which it probably is. But honestly, I have been using this method for years without any issues. So has my team. We just use the aluminum foil ball, and it's always there. It's always so handy. And the ability to keep working as you're crafting is a really, really big deal. So, it makes sense that it would push the glitter and the adhesive up into the housing. So if you don't want to worry about doing anything like that, use the alcohol instead. But whatever you do, clean the blade, because it really makes such a big difference. Whenever you notice it's not cutting the way that you think it should, just clean your blade. All right, let's set this over here. All right, now on the off chance that you do need to replace your blade, I highly recommend getting another premium fine point blade, not a knockoff and not a non-premium blade. There's some out there that just say fine point blade. I don't recommend them. I recommend specifically the Cricut premium blade, and that's the one that comes with your Cricut. The blades are pretty particular. Sometimes they have the shaft length is slightly different, and that can cause you to cut things like your cut can be off. In fact, when I hear someone say, I'm having a problem, I just put in a new blade. I will ask them, what blade did you put in? Do you have the packaging still? And 9 times out of 10, they put in the fine point blade, or they put in the one for the older Cricuts that don't, the shaft is just slightly shorter, and it doesn't cut as well. So I get the best results with the premium Cricut blade. But if you keep your blade clean, you probably won't need a blade for a very, very long time. Seriously. All right, my next Cricut hack is the third thing that I'd wished I'd known earlier. And again, it's all about the cutting quality. So if your Cricut blade is clean and still things aren't cutting well, dollars to donuts, it's probably your mat. You need a clean, sticky mat that really grips your material to good, clean cuts. I totally didn't realize this, and I struggled for quite a while because an old mat can seem sticky enough. I mean, it'll often have a stick enough, your paper is stuck to it. It seems fine, but if the material can move at all, even a little while cutting, it's not going to work. And you'd be surprised how once you're cutting and it's cut out a small part, there's just not enough adhesive left on the mat to really hold it, and then it'll shift ever so slightly, and then everything is off. So basically, if your mat isn't able to hold a piece of paper firmly in place, I'm going to show you what I mean. It's not sticky enough, and you'll get a bad cut. So I have here a dirty mat. I've had dirtier mats, but this is what I could find. All right, so here is a dirty mat. You can see it's got lint all over it. It's got some cat and dog hair, okay? So, and I will show you with a piece of paper. Okay, piece of cardstock. So it seems sticky, right? We put it on here, right? It's not falling off, right? But do you see how easily it lifts up here? It just, if you can pull it off like this without, like a lot of effort, it is not sticky enough, right? So this one, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's not clean. It maybe would work, but something, if you're getting a bad cut, it's probably not good enough. So I just kept using an old and busted mat for a while because I didn't even realize a sticky mat would solve my issues. So my hack is to clean your mats. You can often resurrect a mat and get it sticky again by washing it, specifically with things like a Clorox wipe or an alcohol-free baby wipe like these, or even some mild detergent like Dawn, okay? And then you let it dry. I have a tutorial that shows you, like a video that demonstrates it for you. It's over at jennifermaker.com/clean mats, but I'll really quick do this. So we're just gonna take out the wipe, right? And the Clorox ones are pretty good. All right, so let's see if I can zoom this in any more so you can see what I'm doing. I have to find my zoom. One moment. By the way, I will edit a lot of like the slow parts when I probably, so that it goes a little faster because we're doing this live, so we know it doesn't go as fast as I usually like. All right, I'm looking for my screen that lets me zoom in. There we go. But I've lost it. Maybe it's behind something. Everyone, just bear with me. As I said, one of the reasons I do this is to get all prepped for next weekend too. So it's a lot of stuff to keep track of. I think it's behind something right now, but I can't find my window. So I am looking for it because this is important, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me. I don't know where it went. It's this window that lets me zoom in on everything. Well, I guess I'll just have to move on and I'll look for it later. All right, well, I guess we're not going to zoom in. All right, so to clean a mat, you're just wiping. Now you don't want to like go with so much pressure that you're actually wiping the adhesive off. That's important. Also, don't use anything really abrasive and don't use a scrubby sponge because it will totally wipe the adhesive right off, and also avoid alcohol. Alcohol takes off adhesive, okay? So I will lift this up though so that you can see that it focus. Is that going to focus for us? One moment. I will manually focus this so that you can see. There we go. All right. Oh no, that's just lovely, huh? However, you can see here the difference. So clean your mats, right? Clean them, let them dry. Some people have said that, you know, a little heat, so like a little hair dryer or something, can actually make your adhesive a little stickier. I don't do that. And I also don't use like anything. It's always really important that it be mild detergent when you do this, but it really, really makes a difference. And when I can't get out to get a new mat, right? Because I do get new mats, I consider them consumables. I clean my mats, right? Or when my daughter is using her Cricut, she's making a lot of 3D paper crafts right now. So I go in her room and there's a Cricut mat laying on the floor. We have like a cat and she's like laying on the mat, but it does clean off. Okay, it does. So when you can't get your mat clean, because it will happen, get yourself some new mats when they are on sale. And always have a backup ready in case yours conks out in the middle of a project. Like in the middle of the night, you got a deadline, right? Mats are often on sale on Amazon. I've also seen them on sale at the Cricut shop, at Target, Walmart. You can watch my Facebook page at facebook.com/JenniferMakerCrafts for deals on mats. Whenever we see them, we try to share that with you. Okay. What I do not recommend, however, is that you try to re-stick your mat with adhesive. If you make a mistake when you're reapplying your adhesive, it can gum up your wheels on your Cricut and it can make it stop working. If it's still under warranty, it will void your warranty. If it's out of warranty, you can brick your Cricut. So just get new mats when you have to and keep them clean. And in fact, that leads me to my next hack, and it's about the Cricut mats themselves. Because mats can get less sticky over time, they will get less sticky over time, you can actually use different colored mats for different projects as they lose their stickiness. All right, so for example, you can use an older purple strong grip mat in place of a green standard grip mat when this one loses its stick, and then you can use an older green mat in place of a blue mat when it loses its stick. I have done this so many times in a pinch. So keep your old and busted purple and green mats and use them for projects that don't need as much adhesive to cut well. Many thanks to Amy Butler, a member of my Cricut Crafters community, for reminding me of this hack. I do it, but then I don't think I've actually ever told anybody this hack. So it was really useful to remind me that this is a good hack for everyone to know. And before we move off the topic of mats, because they're just so important to what we do, be sure you're keeping your protective plastic covers on it. Of course, see, I don't have mine on there right now. Here it is. This thing. New people will sometimes discard this, not thinking it's important, right? You want to keep your plastic covers on and use them to keep dust and debris off. Cat and dog hair can get everywhere. And if you really will have even better results if you mark the front of your plastic covers and always put them back on the same way. So on this one, I have a sticker right here on the front, and then you don't have to worry about remembering which way is which on your covers. And while it's not the end of the world if you don't remember, it's not going to ruin your mat, there is a slight difference, and there will be more adhesive on the side that was sitting against the adhesive mat, right? So, and then the other side will be dirty and dusty because, you know, it's just the way it is. So try to remember, if you don't want to put a sticker on, you can just write the word on in Sharpie. And then if you turn it over, it'll actually say no. So that's another awesome tip. And in fact, here's a tip I didn't write down, but I love to show this one. To get your mats back on, to get your covers back on your mats, if you have the Maker, or I think the Explorer has this little slot at the top here. Let me switch to my other camera. Yeah, see this slot here? This is like supposed to be for like an iPad or phone or whatever. I like to put my mats there. All right, so if you have this, put your mat right in here. And then I'm gonna go to the bigger camera. You take your cover and you just put it into the slot with the mat, right? So it's just sitting down here. And then you just let it go. And it just goes right back into place without having to worry about getting it on there just so. So this is a great way to get your cover back onto your mat. All right, so I'm up to like number 6, I think. All right, so let's talk about vinyl hacks. So many of us struggle with vinyl, myself included. I even avoided trying vinyl for like 6 months when I was new because I was afraid of it. So because I still find vinyl a little intimidating at times, I have a bunch of shortcuts and hacks and cheats to make things better for me. All right, so let's get out some vinyl so we can talk about this. So first, you have to use the right kind of vinyl. If your project calls for adhesive vinyl, don't be tempted to use removable vinyl instead of permanent vinyl unless it specifically calls for it or you're putting it on your wall or something. Removable vinyl is a lot harder to cut because it tends to slide around in the backing because it's supposed to be removable, right? I think a lot of people, especially new people, don't realize this. I avoid removable vinyl whenever I can. I can't even say the word half the time. Removable. So just avoid it whenever you can. Okay, use the permanent adhesive vinyl. It really makes weeding so much easier. Second, if you want to use iron-on vinyl, also known as HTV, don't avoid it just because you don't have a heat press. You can use a regular household iron to press iron-on vinyl. Just put it on the cotton or linen setting, and I have like a whole video on how to do this over on my channel if you want some help, but I just used my iron in the very beginning. I didn't even have a heat press. Greg bought me one later on for Mother's Day. All right, and I think that we're gonna talk about which is which. I've got 2 vinyls here. So the big question I often get about using vinyl is, how do you tell which vinyl is which? So this is another hack I have. If it is still in the packaging, which these are not, check your packaging because it'll tell you. If it is opened, you can check the backing material. Okay, so let me show you. Overhead. Okay, so let's start with this one. We'll start with one that's clearly labeled. Oh, by the way, I forgot something. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. I have all of these tips on a cheat sheet. If you want it, I am going to give you the link at the end so that you can just get that one page. You can get my notes from class, basically. Okay, I should have mentioned that earlier, sorry. All right, so vinyl, Cricut vinyl identifies itself. So this is Cricut Permanent Premium Vinyl. Okay, so you can just look at the back side, and then this is the removable, right? And this is also identifying itself, removable vinyl, okay? So if you happen to have one of these, check the backing. But what if it's iron-on vinyl? What if it's value vinyl? Let me show you, okay? So this is a new vinyl that's come out recently, which we've been using for our projects. This is Cricut Permanent Value Vinyl. Notice that they didn't, I guess we're saving money because we don't have a backer with a nice, like a little, this is what the back of it looks like, right? So you might be confusing, you might confuse this with iron-on vinyl. And then there are iron-on vinyls. So this one is Cricut iron-on. Okay, so now we've got these two. We're good on these two, but like which is which on these? And this here is iron-on vinyl by Caesar. Okay, so if you have these vinyls and you can't figure out what it is, this is what I recommend. This is my hack. Get out a weeding tool like this. This is a weeding tool, and just peel the vinyl a little bit in the corner. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that because I want to be really sure you know exactly what I mean. Also, I struggle with this, so I want to show you another hack I have for this. All right, so here is a vinyl, right? This is the pretty side. This is the backer. Okay, you can see the difference, right? If you're ever not sure, because you can kind of can be confusing with iron-ons, right? This is an iron-on vinyl. So pretty side is the side that looks like it should, right? It's usually the darker, shiny side. And this side, which is more matte and usually a little bit like lighter, that's the backer side, okay? That's actually wrong, I'm sorry. This is the backer side. This is the adhesive side in iron-on. Okay, so see, difference, so it is important. All right, so, but you're not sure, right? So if you're trying to figure out if you have iron-on vinyl or you have adhesive vinyl, you just peel it back and look. So, you see this okay? I really need to figure out how to zoom in, everybody. Oh, here it is. It was right here in front of my face this whole time. That's funny. All right, there we go. I figured it out. Okay. So you would just take your weeding tool like this and you would peel this corner up right here at the best of your ability. This is what I struggle with. I don't know about you, but I just have the hardest time getting my vinyl backing off. The weeding tool helps, but like, you see how it's like lifting up as I do this? So here's my hack for this. Take a Cricut mat. It's like having a third hand, right? And I'm going to set this right here. I'm just going to set the corner on it so you can see. It doesn't really matter where it is, but it's now in place. So now I can lift it and make sure it's pressed down there. Now it's like basically on the, see if I can get it. There it goes. There it goes. Right? So the mat keeps it like in place, and then I can peel it up. And let's do that again so you can see. This is the backing, and this is the Cricut Value Vinyl. All right, so it's sticky. If I touch this, it's sticky, right? So I now know that it's an adhesive vinyl. Is it permanent? Is it removable? That I might not know. But, you know, if you stick it to, like maybe you could stick it to your wall, see how easily it comes off. You can kind of tell. Removable is definitely less tacky than the permanent. Okay, so once you know what type it is, I recommend, I'm going to peel this off. Let's peel this off properly. Like that. There we go. Okay. All right, so once you know what type of vinyl it is, you want to mark it so you aren't guessing next time. If it is a roll, you know, like sometimes they come in those plastic rolls, put it back in there if you can. You could, you know, like, have got all sorts of hacks and tips for this. I've used painter's tape, I've used flat bands, I've just put them into storage. But the easiest way that I do it is to put something inside the roll. And if you look, you can see that I actually have it in here. It's actually the label. So I just take the label off when I open up the roll, and this is the original label. So this is Caesar Easy Weed HTV, and I just put it right into there, and it stays there because, you know, it just kind of will expand and it doesn't fall out, and it's there for all time, and I don't have to remember what it is. Okay, so identify your vinyl. This is the easiest. This is the lazy way. Let's be honest, and that's totally fine. All right, so now let's talk about hacks to avoid wasting material. Materials are expensive, so you do not want to waste them. It's also frustrating to do that. And it's super inconvenient to have to go out and get more when you have a project that needs to be finished now, because we have all been there, right? So to avoid wasting material, I do test cuts on any new material that I do not feel 100% confident that I can cut properly. Let me say that again. I do and recommend that you do test cuts on any new material that you do not feel 100% confident that you can cut properly. So to do a test cut, all you have to do is make a circle or a heart shape or whatever, something small, and stick it in the bottom corner of your mat or somewhere that won't actually get in the way of your design and waste your paper, right? And then you can check to make sure that it cut before you unload your mat. If it works, you can cut your design. If it doesn't work, you increase your pressure, change your mat, clean your blade, whatever you need to do. Sometimes you can also press the middle button. This is the middle button right here, to just cut it again. And that will do the whole project again. So, and that is like one of my best tricks, in fact. So long as you don't unload your mat, it will cut in the same place. And this time it will cut a little deeper since there's already a cut there. So always do a test cut. It breaks my heart to waste material and to hear that you've wasted it too. So before today, before our video, I did a test cut just to be sure. Plus, you know, it's embarrassing when you don't get it right. So let me just show you what it looks like so you can see. I've already taken it off the mat, obviously, but just, you know, visuals are good. Whenever I can do a visual in this video, I'm going to try. In fact, let's just grab our mat here. So what I did was I put my cardstock onto the mat, right? So there it is. And let me just put this back into place and I'll show you exactly what I did. So right here in the lower left corner, because that's the one closest to me when I'm sitting here at the desk, I just cut a little heart right here. And then I can test and can be sure that it is cutting through. And if it didn't cut through, I just press that middle button again before I've unloaded my mat, or I adjust my settings, which is often what I do. I adjust my settings so that I have the right setting for it. Okay. Something else I do to avoid wasting material is just use the amount of material that I need by cutting it close to size before I put it on the mat. And I like to save time by just putting a whole bunch of little bits of material on the same mat that are different colors, and I just position them so they cut from the part of the material that it matches the color I want. It does take setup a little longer, but it's faster. And I like not having to load my mats in and out, especially when I have like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We have some projects during Maker Academy weekend that are like that, where it's a little blue and a little red or whatever. So if you are feeling adventurous, this might be an advanced hack. Just put everything, make it all one color, but you know what color it's supposed to be, and just put it all onto one mat. I'll put like things like there'll be like a bow tie in this corner and a hat in this corner and the shoes in this corner. But it really is faster. All right. And if you don't like all of those fussy cuts, because it's totally fussy cutting, you will still, but you still want to avoid wasting material on your Cricut, especially material that comes on a roll like vinyl. I have another hack for you. All right, let's take this off the mat. And I'm going to do it overhead, and we're going to go back to our regular size so you can see better. Okay. All you do is you just put the leading edge of your material on your mat, and you can keep the rest on the roll. Really, you can totally do this. So I will do this all the time because I don't want to cut off more than I need. I only want exactly what I need. So I keep it right on the roll, and I just, put it into position like this. And I make sure, I've come down far enough, and I put it in my machine like that. Maybe I roll it down a little bit, right? But I put it right in there. Let me show you. Switch to this camera. Here we go. I'll put it in just like this. You see? So the roll is still on there. And, as long as you've rolled it down far enough that it's not going to get in the way, it's awesome, right? So the rest can just hang off the edge. It doesn't do anything. There's nothing wrong with it. And then when you're done, you just cut the material right at the edge of the design, and you roll the rest of it right back onto the roll. I also like to do this because it saves time. Like I'm just like sticking a roll on my mat, right? And I am all about saving time. All right. I really am. I like to do things without a lot of fuss. You know, that is my favorite way. It's just like I have an idea and I just like I'm going to do this thing and then I just do it and then it's finished and I didn't have to like, you know, do a bunch of stuff. That of course isn't ideal, but it's definitely my favorite way of crafting. All right. And moving things around on the mat is another great hack for maximizing your material. If you move things around on your mats to fit better, you can really save on your materials and your time. In fact, let me show you how to move things in Cricut Design Space. So we're going to head on over to the Design Space because this is something I didn't know how to do for several months. So we're going to go into Design Space. Awesome, it worked. Okay. So here we are in Cricut Design Space. And let's say we're going to cut these various things. I'm going to go ahead and click Make. And it takes us to the Prepare screen. So here we have, what do we have? Let's say I wanted to cut, I don't know, I'm going to do these in two different colors, red or white in the corner and a different color here. So did you see how I moved it? Like I didn't even know you could move these when I first got my Cricut. I was just like trying to like position things and just like exactly the way it showed up on the screen. But you can click on them. They move. So you just click and hold and drag like that. You can even drag a bounding box and get multiple things. So that's a little preview of something. Because I'm super excited about it. All right, so you can just move things around the mat. So do that because it will really make a difference. You can even like rotate things, right? If you have to like, you have this tiny little scrap of stuff and you just have to get just this in here, you can do this. And then you have just this, then it'll fit, right? So highly recommend that. Okay, that was vinyl. Let's talk about cardstock. I hear lots of people struggling with cardstock. So I have a bunch of hacks here to share with you. My cardstock's over there. I'm going to bring some of it over here so that we can talk about it. And I'm going to actually move some of my vinyl off the table. Okay. And I have something else to get, just a minute. Okay, this should do it. Oh, got to put my cover back on. It was just sitting here with no cover. That's a great way for it to get dirty. And no, I'm not going to use my hack. I'm just going to set it there. All right. Cardstock. So many people struggle with cardstock. Cardstock is my favorite material to craft with, though. It's not expensive, and it's just amazing what you can do with it. It really is. All right, so my first cardstock hack is to use solid core, smooth cardstock for the best cuts. Solid core is higher quality, typically. It's less fibrous, and it cuts much better. So if you're struggling with getting good cuts on your cardstock, make sure it's smooth and solid core. If it doesn't say solid core on the package, because it doesn't always, I'm going to show you what to look for so that you can determine if it's solid core. Okay, so let's see if any of mine say, none of these that I have here say it. None of them. So I'm going to show you what to look for because that's pretty common. All right, so on my desktop here, what you do, if it doesn't say in the package, is you just turn your cardstock to the side and you make sure that the colors that you see here match what you see on the front and back. Okay, so we've got, see, it's solid core meaning the inside, right? So it's solid color all the way through. Whereas white core looks like this. So here's a package of cardstock that I don't recommend. Sorry, brand of cardstock. I don't recommend this stuff, but we have it here, right, for teaching purposes. And it is these colors, right? It's all reds. But if you turn it over, it is white on the edge, right? So solid core on the left and white core on the right. So this stuff tends to cut a lot better than the white core stuff does. These brands that I have here on my table are all brands that I have had great results with, other than this one. We've got Recollections, we've got Cardstock Warehouse, and Clear Path Paper. There are others too, right? But I have great success with these. And American Cardstock, Cricut, those are all great brands as well. All right, so my second cardstock hack, if you need to cut crazy, intricate designs on cardstock and it just isn't working, I have an awesome hack for you. You ready for it? Attach a piece of vinyl to the back of the cardstock before you cut it. This lets you cut teeny tiny things without them shredding and falling off and like making a giant mess or ripping when you take them off the mat. I have several tutorials on how to do this. One good one is Project 529 over on my blog at jennifermaker.com/529. Let me show you though. I actually brought it over here so I could show you what this looks like. So this is a project from last year. It's a shadow box of an awesome winter scene. It's not lit up, so you can't see it all, but we put vinyl on this before we cut it. And you wouldn't be able to tell. You can't tell. It's like, it's either clear or white. I think it's clear. But I'll show you the back. You see? It's got, normally you wouldn't have this. This is for us for demonstrating, but it's just clear. I'm going to let it reflect there. It is such a good tip. Ever since we started teaching this, it's an extra step, an extra piece of material, but if you are struggling with getting, this is a very intricate project. And also look at the size of it. This is like 8 by 8, 7 by 7. It's pretty small. So look at the branches on this. We were able to do that by attaching adhesive vinyl to the back. So I highly recommend it. You can watch the whole tutorial to see it, but basically you're just putting vinyl on the back before you cut it. Okay. Now my third cardstock hack, again, hang on a second. All right. My third cardstock hack, again, this is for getting the best cuts. It is your settings. Okay. So, in fact, let me just pause there for 1 minute. If you are using the Explorer Air 2 or the Explorer 1, which of course I recommended at the start of this video. I love the Explorers. I actually love all of them, but the Explorer is an awesome machine. If you're using this machine, you have a smart dial on it. They did away with the smart dial. You'll see there's no smart dial over here. But if you have the smart dial, let's see if I'm going to put my close-up camera on this so I can show you exactly, because this is important. All right. Let's see here. Oh, that's a lovely, very shaky view. But hey, there it is. Okay. There is the smart dial. So, and a lot of people don't, this is how you would select your settings. You see that? Let me move it up a little bit more. Right, so this is how you would select it right here. So what you really want to do is don't select your materials there at all. Put it onto custom. Keep it on custom. Okay, sorry it's so shaky. I just wanted to make sure that you saw that. If you have a smart dial, put it onto custom. All the other Cricuts, they're on custom by default, so you don't have to worry about that. And then in Cricut Design Space, you choose your settings. And let's actually go over there so I can show you exactly how to do that. Let's pretend like we're going to cut this project. In fact, let's just go ahead and hide this one and move this one to the corner like I suggested earlier for a test cut. So it's on this page. We'll click continue. And when you get to the make screen, which is the third screen, so first is design, then prepare, then make, you got here's our Cricut, selected that. You will get a screen here where you can select your materials. So a lot of new people, they just sort of select from these boxes, maybe not even realizing that there is a browse all materials section right here. So you can actually click that. So my cardstock hack is to use, and this is what I use for all of my projects. I either use medium cardstock, which is right here, and I always give it more pressure. You'll see it in pretty much every tutorial I have. Medium cardstock, more pressure. Or if it's a really intricate project, I will use Cardstock for intricate cuts. It is not on here. You'll see it's not on here. So to find it, you click Browse All Materials, and then you can search. Okay, so I'll just search for intricate. And there it is, Cardstock for intricate cuts. And done. while I'm here, let's also make sure that you know about how to adjust your settings, because a lot of people don't know how to do this. So see this link down here that says material settings at the bottom of the screen? This will let you change all your settings. So if you click on this, let's say we want to change our medium cardstock settings and our machine just doesn't cut as well as we want, or we're tired of selecting more pressure and we're automatically going to give it more pressure. So we can find medium cardstock. It should all be alphabetical. So here is medium cardstock right here, and we press on edit and we can change it. In fact, I probably have changed mine because that seems really quite high. This slider here lets you change all of it. You can change it to cut twice, or I don't recommend it, cut 9 times. And you can choose what blade you want. In this case, medium cardstock is using the fine point blade. But did you know that if you don't want to use the fine point blade, you can just stick your deep point blade in there instead? So you don't really have to do what it says there. But you can change your material settings. So if you find you are always giving it more and more pressure, just come in and edit your settings and save it, or create a brand new material. I think it's down at the bottom. Add new material. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it, Ducky or something. Give it a funny name and you'll always remember where to find it. Okay, that's my third cardstock hat. I have no idea what number I'm on. Does anybody know? I don't know. I did number them on our cheat sheet, so they're on there. All right, my fourth cardstock hack is to use a brayer. A brayer will really adhere all materials to your mat so well. It will make a huge difference in your cuts. I think so many people just skip over the brayer thinking it's really not necessary, or it's another thing you have to buy, but it truly makes a difference. With a brayer, I can often get more life out of machine mat than I might normally, because rolling the brayer over the material really pushes it down into the machine mat and keeps it in place. Let's demonstrate that. All right. Here is our mat. Let's take that off. It's going to be loud. Okay, here's our mat. Here is our cardstock. A lot of times we kind of just do this, but using the brayer really truly makes a difference. I really highly, especially if you are struggling with getting those clean cuts, use your brayer. It's really a big difference. Okay. Fifth cardstock hack is, let's put this over here. All right. My notes are not scrolling, but let me see if I can fix this myself. Greg, you gonna fix it for me? Hang on, let me see if we can do it myself. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. I got it. Yep. Thank you. We're good. Thank you. All right, my fifth cardstock hack is if you're cutting foil cardstock, and I've got some to show you. Foil cardstock. One moment, sorry. Oh, here it is. Foil cardstock. This is one of our upcoming projects uses foil. Our boxes? Yes, our boxes. Our gift box. No, not our gift boxes. I can't remember which one right now. Sorry. I pulled it from that though. Okay. Fifth cardstock hack. If you're cutting foil cardstock, put it foil side down on your mat before you cut it. You may be tempted to put it up like this, right, on your mat. That makes sense. But if you put it down like this and then you mirror or flip your design before you go to cut it, it will result in much cleaner cuts and it will look fantastic when you're finished. So flip your foil cardstock down. And in general, you really want to have that smoothest side down whenever you cut. So if you're cutting a glitter, don't put it glitter side down. It doesn't really attach well to your mat. Make sure the shiniest, the smoothest side is against your mat, because it will really give you, it'll stick to your mat better and give you a cleaner look when you're done, because then the cuts are all, on the other side. And that's the case of the foil, right? It can kind of tear the foil a little bit if we do it from the front. All right, sixth cardstock hack. Don't let your mats get floppy when they are moving through your machine. If they get floppy, it can actually unstick your material, especially if your mat is not really sticky, and that will be a disaster. Everything will get messed up. So either work with your Cricut on a flat surface like I have here. So you see I've got a desk right in front of me. And let me switch my camera so you can see. So see, it's sitting on a desk right here. So as the mat moves, it just will use the desk as a support, or use a mat extender. And I have one somewhere here. Oh, yeah, here it is. So this is a mat extender. You can get them on Amazon. I've talked about them many times. You probably all have one by now, but for those who don't, and you can use this one on the Explorer or the Maker. It's in the Maker configuration, but it just literally just clamps right onto this. And then as it's moving back and forth through, it stays on this. So it's really useful. If you don't have that and you don't want to go buy it, or you don't like Amazon, whatever, you can use a yardstick and put it under your Cricut, or anything that will support your mat as it's moving in and out is really, really useful. If you're using the big mat, like the 12 by 24 inch mat, make sure you got support on the back too. A lot of times we just don't worry about that. We're like, I'll just let it fall off, but it needs that support there as well. So often when I am doing a big project, I will take my Cricut, I don't want to unplug it, and I'll put it on my table like this. So I move it into place, and then I've got all of this here, and I've got all of this back here to support it on that big mat, and lots of space, and it's not going to hit the wall and give me the red light of doom. And then I just put it back into place. Okay. 7th cardstock hack. What do you do when you don't have just that right color or pattern of cardstock that you need? So you can go to the store and buy it, sure, but there's 2 hacks that you can use instead. Either print out that color you need on your printer using white cardstock. I do this all the time and I love it. Then I get exactly what I want. Also works great for patterns. Or you can, yeah, that's true. I actually have a lot of digital paper patterns. So whenever you see me share a PNG file, I love to share them because we do lots of sublimation projects with them. I also will say they're print and then cut. They also make great digital paper. Just a little tip for you, right? So you can make all your paper yourself. Yes, it will be white core, but it's still, if you're using good quality white cardstock, it's still good quality white cardstock. Okay, and the other thing that you can do is if you have a vinyl that is the right color or pattern, for example, this pretty one here, this Natalie Moran one, she's got all these beautiful patterns. You can just stick your vinyl to a sheet of cardstock and then cut that. So if you've got these beautiful patterns that maybe came in Cricut mystery boxes, that's probably where I got this one. This is a great hack for you. So it gives you beautiful patterns, because she makes great patterns, and you just put it on the cardstock and then you cut it. And the vinyl on the cardstock makes it really durable thanks to that vinyl and cardstock combination layer. Okay, so you try this, it works. My 8th cardstock hack is to make sure your cuts go all the way through. Every time you cut a material or design for the first time, check that your machine has cut all the way through before you unload it. And I just have it go through, and then I try to lift up the corner and see if the cut went through. If it didn't go through and you haven't unloaded your mat, you can just press this middle button right here. This is the middle button right here. Right? Just press that middle button again, and it will cut in the exact same spot, often getting you all those clean cuts you want. So check your cuts before you unload your mat, and it will save you so much pain and wasted materials. My 9th cardstock hack is to make sure you don't have moisture in your paper. I learned this one the hard way when our air conditioner stopped working one summer, and I suddenly was having a problem cutting cardstock that I had cut so many times before. After much troubleshooting, I realized that my cardstock had gotten damp from no air conditioning, right? So that was a very good learning experience. Sometimes our mistakes can be the best way that we learn something. Cardstock that is damp or moist can be very hard to cut properly. So in fact, it can be almost impossible. If you suspect this is the case, the simplest thing to do is get a new pack of paper and try again. And then store your paper in an airtight container. You can even throw in a silica gel pack that will keep it nice and dry. You know, those little do not eat little packs that will come in like your shoe boxes and stuff, right? But you can there's also another hack that you can do if you don't have time to wait for it to dry out and you don't have the money or the time to go get a new pack of paper. I'm going to grab something to show you. You can use this. So this is the Easy Press 2, the 9 by 10 one. I'm trying to remember what size it is. It is basically a big iron. It gets hotter than an iron. It's more than an iron, but So you can gently press a piece of cardstock with an Easy Press to remove moisture before cutting it. So if you suspect that your cardstock is moist, try gently pressing it. You don't want to press it so hard that it like deforms it. You don't have to have it on, super high heat or anything like that. 300-ish would probably be just fine. For those of you who like to do sublimation projects, which we'll be talking about in our class tomorrow, I always recommend that you press your projects before you actually put your designs on it to remove moisture, right? So it's the same thing. That heating up, basically the moisture like gets hot and it evaporates. So I think that's what it's doing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what's happening there. All right. Let's set this over here. My 10th cardstock hack, if you're still struggling to get good cuts, is to duplicate your design once so you have 2 identical designs and align them so they are right on top of each other. Then you set one copy to score, keep the other as cut, and you attach the 2 designs. Then you score and cut it, because scoring at first along the cut lines that will come later puts enough pressure on the paper to really make sure the paper is stuck to the mat before cutting. The tiny fiddly bits are much less likely to lift up and cause problems then. Let me demonstrate in Cricut Design Space. So let's get rid of the screen, cancel out of all of this. Okay, and this. All right, let's say, actually, let's use this one right here. This heart. Let's say we're having a problem cutting it. This is pretty simple, but whatever. Let's just pretend. So what you want to do is you want to duplicate your design, whatever design it is. So, and you can do it in a couple different ways. I'm just going to hold down my, I guess that's the group. I'm trying to think, is there a duplicate button in here anymore? I'm going to hold down my left button. This is how I do it. To get the secret menu, I'm holding down, my right button on my mouse, my right button. And it brings up this menu. I guess that's a hack too if you didn't know about it. So hold down the right button on your mouse to bring up this secret menu and choose duplicate. Okay, so it's right here. And then we're going to select these 2 and we're going to go to Align Center to put them right on top of each other. Okay, and you can see over here, here's one layer, here's the other. Let's just move them up so they're together over here on the left. Okay, there's our 2 layers. They're right on top of each other. Now we're going to take one, it doesn't matter which one, select just that one, go to Operation, change it to Score. And then we're going to select both of them, and then we're going to attach. And now it's going to first score it, and then it's going to cut it. So really, really helpful. It really can make a difference if you have tried everything else. All right, and speaking of scoring, what can you do if you can't score because you are using the Joy or the Joy Extra? Because the Joy and Joy Extra do not come with scoring styluses or scoring wheels. You can't buy them, you can't attach them. So it turns out there's a hack for that too, and you can use the foil transfer tool instead. Let me show you what that looks like. I don't know which version I have here, but it's the one in this blue housing. Looks like this. This is the foil transfer tool. There we go. It is not a scoring tool, but it kind of will act like a scoring tool. And it's not going to be quite as good as a regular scoring tool, but it will put an indent in the paper and create a score for you. So if we were over in Design Space and we wanted to do this, if we were to change this to Joy right now, it's going to tell us, oh, it can't score, right? It says it right here, this little exclamation point. So let's just change it to Foil instead. Now we can score it, basically. So that's what you can do if you're using a Joy or Joy Extra. All right, so that was a lot of cardstock. Let's go back to vinyl and talk about weeding. Using vinyl requires weeding, and as some of you may know, I struggle with weeding. So if you don't know what weeding is, it's basically, the Cricut will cut your vinyl, and then you have to remove the parts you don't want. Cardstock is a little bit different. It cuts it completely, so you just kind of discard it. But the vinyl is still stuck to the backing, and you have to use a weeding tool like this to remove the vinyl that you don't want. So I don't like weeding, so I have vinyl hacks. So if you cut out some vinyl, you may be tempted to just weed it as soon as you cut it. But if you do this, you'll probably weed away a lot of vinyl that you could have saved for another project. So instead, I recommend you cut out just the section of the design that's been cut on your Cricut and put the extra into your scrap pile for another project, and then weed your design. You can even do this right in Cricut Design Space by placing a weeding box around your design before you cut it. If you do this, you can weed just the part that you want and easily save the rest for later. Or instead of a weeding box, just do an offset around your design. Offsets make super easy weeding boxes, and I will demonstrate that for you. All right, here we are in Cricut Design Space. Let's go get a new shape. Let's pick this star. All right, so we could just pick another square and then put the square around the star, right? We could do that. And that would create a weeding box. I'll just put it underneath so you can sort of see that a little better, right? So with this, and we would want to attach these so that they stay together. But with this, it'll cut this box around the star, and that means that you can just peel off that. It's a lot easier, especially if you got a lot of stuff. It's a lot easier. But you can use offset. So let's get a star out again. So to use offset, you just go up to the offset menu right here. And it's usually just preset to this one. This is fine. You see it's got this blue line around it. You can make it smaller if you want. You can make it bigger, right? That's fine right about there. And now, again, you want to attach these. Select both. I'm just clicking and dragging to create like a bounding box to grab them both, but you can take them from over here too and attach them. And now they will cut together, and you can easily take, what you want to do is take off the part, the weeding box first, and then it's just so much, otherwise you have all of this sticky adhesive, usually with adhesive vinyl, and it starts getting stuck to itself and to you, and it's just like, that's how I feel when I'm weeding vinyl. All right, and I have another hack for weeding small letters. If you have little letters, it's really easy to have them move around on you and get out of position. You know what I'm talking about? And yes, you can fiddly push them back in, but it's such a pain. So to avoid this, I recommend you weed the little bits inside the letters first, and then weed the vinyl around the outside of the letters. This works so much better, and you will be so much happier, trust me. So get the insides of your letters first. Plus, then you haven't forgotten about them, right? Because a lot of times we forget to do those too. Or how about the reverse weeding hack? Have you heard of reverse weeding? So reverse weeding is when you put your entire piece of vinyl onto transfer tape before you weed it, and then you weed away the bits from the transfer tape. That's all it is. So reverse weeding is perfect for really intricate and tiny bits of vinyl, as putting the vinyl onto the transfer tape beforehand makes them less likely to wiggle around as you are weeding. So if you have really tiny lettering, try reverse weeding. I have a whole tutorial on how to do that on my channel if you need a visual. And let me just give you an example of what I mean. This is a popular project that I have. I love this. I did this like 2 years ago during Merry Maker Mingle, which we're going to do again this year. So this is a very, very See how tiny these letters are? Here is my hand so you can see how small they are. These are really small letters up there. And this says, by the way, because everyone always asks what this says because it's so small. It says, no one is truly lost when they remember, when they remain in the hearts and minds of those who love them. So this was made when my uncle passed away from COVID. So I made this in remembrance of him, and I shared this design, and I love this design, but it is tricky, and I reverse weeded this. So look for this tutorial if you would like to learn how to do that, because it's really pretty small, but it's lovely. And I don't know, it's 2 years old, maybe even 3 years old now. I don't remember how old, but obviously it's done a great job, sticks well to the glass. All right, speaking of transfer tape, let's talk about transfer tape. It's important to use the right stuff. I wished I had known that the first time I went to the store looking for transfer tape, because I chose strong grip, thinking that, oh, strong grip is better than standard grip. But it's not. You really only want to use strong grip on vinyls that have a texture like glitter, right? So glitter is textured, so you'll want to use it. And by the way, if you buy Cricut glitter, it comes with a piece of strong grip transfer tape at the end of the roll. So you probably might not even need to go buy transfer tape because you can reuse transfer tape. So if you try to use strong grip transfer tape, and let's grab the transfer tape while I'm talking about it. There's a lot of things in this video. We have so many things around here. All right, let's actually show you what these look like. This is this gray stuff with the grid. This is Cricut standard grip. It doesn't even say it, but when it doesn't say strong grip, it's standard grip. And then this is strong grip, which actually says. This is the stuff I bought the first time because I'm like, ooh, it must be better. It's strong, right? Wrong. All right, so standard grip is what you want to use for most projects. But if even the standard grip transfer tape is too strong, because this stuff is actually pretty strong, there's something else you can do. And it is, oh, it's over here. I didn't bring it over. This is a good hack. It is press and seal. So this is that plastic wrap that's usually used for food containers, but it's slightly sticky. It's not super sticky. It works though. It works. It might not work for glitter or textured vinyl. I don't think I've even tried that, but for regular adhesive vinyl, it works. And it is great when your surface is delicate. Like I did I decorated some Dollar Tree chargers and made them into door signs. And the regular transfer tape, this stuff was taking the paint off because it was so sticky. So you can just switch to press and seal instead. Press and seal is also great for holding your paper, your cardstock pieces together and in the right orientation. You just smooth it over your mat with your cut cardstock pieces on it. Carefully roll your mat back to release your cardstock, and your cardstock pieces all stay on the press and seal intact, which makes it easier to work with later. So this is a great product to have in your craft space, press and seal, or just borrow it from your kitchen or whatever. Okay, another vinyl hack is to use parchment paper, regular old parchment paper like this stuff, if you are trying to place vinyl into position, especially if you are layering vinyl. To do it, you just weed your design, you apply the bottom layer to your surface, and then you put transfer tape over the second to bottom layer, remove the backing, and place parchment paper over the vinyl. And now you can see through the parchment to line up the vinyl. I have a tutorial on how to do this. It's called The Easy Way to Layer Vinyl. It's Project 355. So it's over at jennifermaker.com/355. But the technique works for all adhesive vinyl. And I'm going to pause for a second because our lights are flickering. And I want to make sure that we're not dropping this video. Are we still live? It looks like we're still live. The lights are flickering. It's like 2 days after Halloween. Why are the lights flickering, Greg? Greg's sitting right over here. He's helping me.
Studio power. It seems okay now.
Seems okay now. Well, it looks like we're still live. Are we still live, everybody? I'm gonna just pause because I'm not seeing any comments right now. I'm just going to pause. I'm still live. Thank you, Susan. Good. All right, awesome. So I'll just use this opportunity to clear it off my desk because there's a lot of stuff now on it. And I don't know what we're up to. Don't forget, you can get this. This is the list that I'm following of our tips. Oh, no, that was number 28. So I'm going to share the link to get this when we get to the end. All right, so we're up to now nope, that was 29. All right. So the next one, number 30. All right, some more hacks I love. These are going to be short, quick ones because I want to have time to answer your questions. So it involves the mat. So now I have so much stuff here, but let's grab this mat. Okay. My best hack for removing things from your machine mat. So first, when you take things off the mat, do not just pull up on them. I think a lot of people do that when they're new. If you do this, it is likely that it will rip, curl, shred your materials. I just saw a photo yesterday of someone who had tried to use poster board and it just basically ripped. Instead, do this. Trust me, you'll be so much happier. Flip your mat over onto your work surface like this. Gently bend your mat back to release your materials. It works so well. This is a brand new sticky mat. I am using it for the first time right now. My cardstock, which I brayered, remember? I brayered this. It is coming right off. It works so well and you will avoid so many issues this way. You will see me do this all the time in my tutorials. Do it. It really works even on the stickiest mats. Again, brand new sticky mat, never used before until just now. Okay, when you cut cardstock, usually you will have bits left over on your mat. So two ways that you can remove them. One is to use a lint roller. It'll take off the big bits off your mat. Second way you can do it is to use a scraper. This is a little scraper that comes in most of like the kits. This is an extra large scraper. I'm always recommending, I love this one. It makes it all so much faster. So use the extra large scraper and I will demonstrate really quick, even though there's nothing on this mat, but all you do is you just take your scraper and you just go like this and it scrapes it all right off so easily. Okay. If you have an Explorer, a Maker, or a Venture, you can use the scoring stylus, which is this little beauty, rather than the wheel, which is this one. You can still use a scoring stylus, even if you have, the Maker or the Venture, instead of the wheel, so you don't have to swap tools. I do this all the time. It is so much faster and easier. So yes, you can use the wheel in your Maker. Sorry, you can't use it in the Venture. What am I thinking? Let's say that one again. Because that was totally wrong. I'm talking about the Explorer and Venture as if you can use the wheel. That's wrong. It can only use the stylus. Okay. If you have the Maker, you can just use your scoring stylus rather than your scoring wheel. And if you do this, it basically goes into this clamp here. So if you were using, let me just show you real quick so you understand what I'm talking about. If we're using the scoring wheel, which is this right here, right? You got to put it into this clamp. And if you put it into this clamp, you have to swap out your tools. And that means you have to pause, swap them out, and then resume. Yeah, I don't really like that. I like to go faster than that. So you can still use the scoring stylus, and you just put it into this clamp here, which is like your pen clamp. Oops, I just broke something. What did I break? I don't know. Something just popped up. Oh, I know. That can happen. There's like a little thing on this adapter, the thing that you hear click, and I just broke it. It does seem like it's okay though, but I can hear it. So I'll need to find that before I actually use the stylus. Okay. Anyways, what this happened wasn't supposed to happen, but you can just put your stylus right into your Cricut Maker and then it'll score and it will then cut. You will need to let the Cricut know that you've switched to the stylus because the Maker will assume that you want to use the wheel because it can use the wheel. So you have to tell it, but it's a lot faster. Okay. I love live video. So much fun. All right, how about some design space hacks? Let's go over to design space. All right, here we are. let's close this. All right. So did you know that you can change the color of your canvas to see light colored layers easier? So for example, this is a white heart. It's on a white background, right? If your design is like all white and it's just like white on white, you can come over here where it says blank canvas, click on that. Then up here, you can change it to be a color. Let's change it to, I don't know, let's change it to pink. Now I can see, like, it's not going to do anything to your project. It's not going to change, anything like that. Now you can see those light colored layers a lot easier. So feel free to change the color of your canvas so you can see things. All right, another hack is to duplicate designs before you alter them so you have a backup. Let's say I've got this star here with a offset, and I'm going to start doing some stuff to it. So just duplicate it. So again, I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to choose duplicate from the menu, and there it is, right? So I have this, it's my backup. And then if you just mess it up and you don't want to undo it a whole bunch, you can just go back. I do this one all the time. So I always have it this thing here, and I can always go back to it. All right, another tip is to use guides for layers and notes that you don't want to cut. You'll notice right here, I have this thing that says Cricut Hacks on it, right? I'm going to change my canvas black to white. I think it's a little bit easier to see. There we go. So see, it says Cricut Hacks. If you look at it, you'll see that the outline is like pink. That's because it's in a guide. So to use a guide, and these are great for notes. If you want to leave a note with a project and you don't want it to accidentally get cut because you forgot to remove it, then let's see. Here is a note. So there's the note, right? Right now it'll cut or whatever, right? But if you go and you select it and then you go to Operation and choose Guide, it changes it to this pink color, and you can keep it with your project and you can keep your notes right in there with it, and it won't ever cut on you. Okay. I wish I could just do that for all of my designs that I give to you, but it doesn't work that way. I would if I could though. All right. And then did you know that you can have multiple windows in Design Space for desktop? So for this, I am going to switch to show you my whole desktop. So to do that, I am going to, hopefully this is the right button. Yes, it is. Okay, so now you can see I'm on a Mac. Okay, this works on both Mac and Windows. You can see my menu bar at the top here. That's where it says Cricut Design Space, File, Edit, View. So on the Mac, the way you do it is you just go to the File menu and you choose New Window. And now I have a new window that I can work in, save projects in. I can be cutting in one window and working in the other. So it's a huge game changer if you don't know how to do this. On Windows, I have demonstrated how to do it in videos before. I'm trying to remember, I feel like there's a thing up over here that you choose and you select your new window. If anyone remembers, I don't use Cricut Design Space in Windows often enough to remember this right now, but you can do it in Windows too. Okay, so, and then here's the tip that I had forgotten all about and was reminded of by Michelle Daniel in my Cricut community. I'm going to tell it to you and then I'm going to demonstrate it to you. You can select more than one item at a time when you're moving them to new mats. You can. So let me just show you. I had forgotten, I think, because in the beginning, I don't think that you could do this. So let's go back to Design Space and let's go to, this is our new window. Let's just get rid of that. Yes, we're going to quit from that. Okay, so here is our Design Space. So let's say, I don't know, I'm going to change all of this to red. And no fill, I don't want fill. I want my color. Let's switch back to the Maker because we're using the Maker right now. All right, so bounding box around all three of these. And we're going to change it. I don't know what, something must be set to print and then cut. Let's just pick these two. I don't know what it's doing there. I don't know why it wants me to use. This is because it's attached. That's why. I see. All right. Let's just change this color. Okay. I want two things. Let's get rid of these hearts and stars, and let's get rid of all of this, and let's make some new ones. So I want multiple things on my canvas. Okay. We've got 3 hearts. Okay. So I'm just going to delete everything else. Close that and just get rid of everything else here. Just going to delete on my keyboard, much faster too. Oops, I deleted a heart. That's fine. We're going to just duplicate it. Okay, so, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I don't like it when you can't see things very well on my screen. All right, there we go. Okay, we have 3 hearts, and I'm going to go ahead and go to make. Let's say I want to, I don't know, I've decided I want 2 of these hearts to be red. So what I would have done in the past, that just took me forever, is I would click on one, and then I would click these 3 dots, and I would say move object, and I would say, I want a new mat, and it's going to be red. Here's the red color, confirm. So you can do that, by the way, if you didn't know. All right, and then I would come back here, and I'd be like, okay, let's move the other one. I would move everything one by one. That's what I would do. But did you know that you can move things as a group? I don't know. I knew this and then I just forgot it. I don't know. Probably because I got used to the old way and then that's what's stuck in here and I just forgot. They changed this about a year and a half ago. So I can select both of these and I can say, no, I changed my mind. I really want them to be all the same color. And there they are, right? They're all right there and I can move them around and I can select, I think I can select them with the bounding box. I think I can. I did it earlier. Oh, it's not selecting now. Look at that. Well, that would be a bug, which by the way, totally happen. I don't let them stop me most of the time. Usually what I do, and this is true of all software, I'm just like, okay, whatever. And I cancel out and I try to go back and do it again. And I find I can. So I restart for everything that anytime I encounter something that's not working the way that it should, I just save my work and I restart it. And that like clears it up like, and all of the software I use, with the notable exception of maybe Adobe products, which are notoriously buggy, it fixes it. So anyways, yeah, so I had forgotten all about that. In fact, I remembered even another one that a community member shared. So let me show you that one while I'm thinking about it. This one is really clever. I didn't know about it. Okay, this one works on both Mac and Windows. Let's get nice and big here. I pressed Command 1 on my keyboard to really zoom in there. Another little shortcut. Okay, did you know, like, so right now if I copy and paste this, so I'm gonna go to copy and I'm gonna go to paste, it'll just stick it wherever. If you have experienced this, you're like, okay, that's great. But you can actually get it to duplicate it and put it right on top of your design. So let me delete that. The way you do it is you want to use your keyboard. And I'm going to show you real quick what key we're going to use. On my Mac keyboard, I'm going to use the Option key. And if you're on Windows, you're going to use your Alt key. Okay? So I'm going to press my Option key. I'm going to select my project and I press my Option key on my Mac or Alt key. And then you move your cursor a little bit until you see that green plus sign. You see it? And then click. And it will create a duplicate for you. So let's do it. And there it is. There it is. It's right on top. So if I was like trying to like do the hack from earlier where I want one to be score and one to be cut, it is right there for me. I don't have to worry about aligning it. It's exactly identical and in the same spot. So just a little keyboard hack if you find that useful. Okay. I think I've shared more than 40 hacks now, but whatever, it's cool. Okay, so and another hack, and this one is from my community. It is actually to take the advice of community members. So one of my community members, Trisha, posted this bit of wisdom into our group the other day. And I'm going to switch so you can see my face as we talk about this. Okay, I'm going to read this for you because it's awesome. She says, don't be afraid to try dollar store items if you're just learning. Not everything has to be Cricut brand. Absolutely true. Save your scraps. They make great test pieces. Stay organized. When you're using print then cut or sublimation, print a test sheet on regular paper with regular ink to ensure your design is sized correctly. Watch all of Jennifer's videos. You'll learn something from every one of them. I started a year ago watching every YouTube video from day one. Trisha, I'm so impressed you watched all of my videos. That's like over 400. That's crazy. Don't pay for a million subscriptions. Never tell your spouse how much you actually spent on cat craft supplies. Make sure your insurance company knows exactly what your machine, supplies, and storage is worth. Keep snacks hidden all over the craft room. Sometimes alcohol and swear words do help. Always be a part of at least one crafting social community for inspiration, questions, answers, and venting. You can reuse transfer tape. When you're first starting, don't buy all of the things. Pick a path and start there. Creating and crafting should be fun and uplifting. Can we all just give Trisha a round of applause? Because that all is so true. All of it. So my very last hack then is to learn more hacks from your fellow creators and crafters by getting involved. Join our communities. We have several, or attend one of our events. I have an event coming up where I share a ton more hacks, tips, and tricks as I make projects with you. It's called Maker Academy Weekend, and it is so much fun. This is a free annual online event that I do that's filled with tons of popular projects. Everything you see behind me is in Maker Academy Weekend. It is a great way to immerse yourself into your Cricut, make some fun stuff, and hang out with other crafters who use the Cricut too. You can learn so much by participating in just one workshop, but there are over 15 and they are free. This year's Maker Academy Weekend is coming up in just a few days. It is November 7th through the 10th, and you can get a free ticket to view the workshops, supply lists, and designs. The designs aren't ready yet, but you can see all the stuff at makeracademy.com/weekends. All the details are over there. It's free. You just put in your name and email, and I send you all the emails. You get all the links. The designs come out on the evening of November 7th. We have a kickoff party, and it's super fun. And it all happens from the comfort of your own home, on your own computer, your phone, or your tablet. We have nearly 50,000 crafters already signed up, and we would love to have you join us. It would be a lot of fun to have you there. It is lots of fun. We play games in the chat, and it's like a whole weekend. Like I am live the whole weekend, like literally 4 days. All right. And then I promised that I would tell you where to get this little baby. This is my notes. So it's not pretty. It's literally a Google Doc that I saved as a PDF. And I thought I would just share it with you because every one of the hacks that I shared today is on here. So you might find it helpful to help you remember what they were. So if you would like this, all you need to do is go to, I think it's this link here. There we go. jennifermaker.com/Cricut hacks. It's just a little page, asks for your name and email. That's it, nothing else. It doesn't cost any money. You just put it in there and I will send it to you. I won't. I'm not actually sitting there sending them. The system sends it to you right away to your email inbox. And then if you sign up for that, I also send you my free designs, the password to my free library, all that good stuff. So it's a good thing, right? So jennifermaker.com/Cricut hacks. All right, I have a few minutes in which I can answer questions. I can't stay here a long time though because our next class is coming up in 30 minutes. In fact, I want to give you that link right now so that if you want to go to it, you can. It'll start at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to put this away and this away, and I'm going to put it on the screen. I send it in email to everybody too. If you signed up for Maker Academy Weekend, I sent you an email this morning with the links for everything, and I'll be doing that as we go along so that you don't have to worry about where to find things, right? I just send it to you. I'll even text you if you're in the US and Canada. You can sign up for a text, and you'll just get a text every time I'm live. Okay, questions. And I should take like only 5 minutes for questions because I have to get all of this cleared off to do our next class. All right, I am moving to our questions. I will do my best to answer them as quickly and efficiently as I can. I will answer more if you don't get your question answered, I'll answer more questions in our next class because I'll have more time to sit around afterwards because there's nothing to go to. All right, where did you get the lint roller with a protective cover? Yes, this thing, I love this. I've had it for 6 years. It comes with refills. It's in almost every tutorial I have where I use a lint roller. So if you search for Jennifer Maker lint roller in Google, it'll pop right up. Or go to jennifermaker.com/Amazon shop and search for lint roller and it'll come up. It's cool. I like it because it's got this little cover. It's really nice and it's pink, so it's cute. I like cute supplies and tools. What can I say? Beth says, is Cricut transfer tape the best? I don't think so. I just have a bunch of it and I use it. That's the truth. I think It really depends on the project. What I need to do is it informs the supplies and tools I use. That is, I use what is best for the project. There is another, I think it's called Craftopia. I like it because it's got like a grid line, a blue, and it's kind of like, instead of clear see-through, it's like kind of translucent instead of like transparent. But I find myself going back to the Cricut transfer tape most of the time because it's more reusable, and so I can do like a sheet and then save it, and like I can just keep using that same piece of transfer tape. So the answer is, I don't think Cricut is the best transfer tape. I don't really know what exactly is. It really is project dependent. What temperature should I heat my paper to remove moisture? So you can start it at 250 degrees Fahrenheit, but don't go any higher than like 310 degrees. Somewhere in that range. Start lower so you don't singe it, just in case it's got something weird in it. You just never know. So start at 250 and then move up if it doesn't seem like that's working for you. Joyce says, do you recommend the score tool over the scoring stylus? If you want a deep score, use the scoring wheel. If you want easy and convenient, use the scoring stylus. And as a reminder, the scoring wheel only works with the Maker, the original, and the Maker 3, not the other machines. I use the scoring stylus most of the time. I don't really need it to be that deep. I'd rather it be fast and easy. Rochelle says, what kind of printer do you recommend just to print and cut designs for HTV on shirts or pillows? So well, first of all, you might mean like using Cricut or Caesar Easy, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called right now. You might be thinking of the stuff where you print it onto the vinyl and then transfer the vinyl onto your shirt. And I cannot remember the name of it right now. I have tutorials on it, and I'm drawing a blank. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. That part doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're printing on paper. The printer that I find myself going back to all the time, after all, I have many printers over my career, is the Epson EcoTank. You will hear me talking about it a lot. I love it because it's not that expensive and it does an awesome job. I swear those printers must be loss leaders for them, because there's no way they can cost so little and yet still be so awesome. I'm sure they're making their money off an ink or something. I don't even know, but I recommend the Epson EcoTank. It's doing a great job. I had an HP Envy before that, which is still fine. It still works, but I use the Epson EcoTank more these days. Kelly says, why do you turn the mat upside down to remove vinyl? Okay, so when you're taking, for iron-on vinyl, it doesn't really matter so much because it's going to stick on there. But adhesive vinyl can actually pull away from its backer if you apply too much pressure and it's in the wrong orientation. So I still recommend you flip your mat over to take vinyl off. Also, it's just a good habit to get into, because if you don't get into the habit of flipping your mat over and removing your mat from your material and instead just trying to rip your material off the mat, you're going to mess up something that's important. So it's just a good habit. Flip your mat over and peel the mat away. Michelle says, does vinyl expire? Yes, it does. And I believe its shelf life is 2 to 3 years. That said, if you have it and you're willing to try it, just try using it. I have used older vinyl that would technically have expired. There is no expiration date listed on the rolls of vinyl, to my knowledge. I have never seen it. So you kind of have to just remember when you bought it or make a note on the label or something. But yes, technically the adhesive can expire. Pat says, if your mat gets a crack in it, does it need to be thrown away? No, it doesn't. What I do is I turn it over. Usually get a crack in the middle, right? And I use painter's tape, which I have sitting over there. That's why I'm putting over there. And I tape the back. So I make sure it's all lined up, and I tape it. And then I just keep using it. Just make sure your tape is really well down. Don't wrap your tape around the edges, because it'll get stuck in your wheels, and that will cause an issue. Do you have a hack for replacing the clear cover sheet for the mats? So if you threw away your clear cover sheet, or it got folded or dirty or whatever, yes, to get some acetate sheets and just use those. That's basically all those clear covers are acetate. And you can buy packs of acetate for crafting and just buy those. Patty says, do you think it's important to use Cricut mats versus other brands? I've tried other brands and I didn't like them. They smelled funny, and I'm really sensitive. So, I'm no sensitive, whatever the word is. I have no idea what it is. I smell everything. So anything that's like has a strong smell, I don't like. Also, the ones that I was experimenting with, I didn't think were doing a good of a job. That said, your mileage may vary. If you try them and you like them, awesome, use them. I'm not going to tell you that you have to buy Cricut products. Sorry, Cricut. I want you all to buy the products that work for your projects and for your budgets. That said, what's cheaper is not always better, right? So try it, but don't be misled by, oh, it's cheaper. Try it and evaluate it for its quality and then decide what works best for you. But yeah, the reason why you always see me using Cricut is not because Cricut tells me to or pays me to. I am an independent creator. Nobody can sponsor me or buy me. So you all know that about me. It's not possible to do that. I talk about the things that I care about and I want and always will. But I use the Cricut mats because they work the best for me. And I didn't like the ones that I tested. And I'll test everything. What is the best, Veronica says, what's the best way to store cardstock? I recommend you store it horizontally, not vertically, right? So if you store it horizontally, and I have a bunch of tutorials on how to make some storage units. I have my paper tower of power where I took an IKEA calyx unit on its side, put wheels on it, and then put shelves in it, which we're still using to this day. It's in my craft room at home. So, and that was like 6 years ago that I did that. So, but don't store it on vertically because it'll like kind of lean and then start to curl. And that's bad for the cardstock. Beth says, can you use canned air to clean out the housing? Canned air is pretty strong. I assume you're talking about the housing on the Cricut blade. You might push dust up into it. So as long as you're like blowing sideways, I think it would be fine. But don't blow into the house, like towards the blade, because it'll just, all that stuff will go up there. And then you'll just defeat the purpose of like doing it that way. So, but otherwise, yes. But I think you can just blow on it too. So, but you can't use just canned air to clean it. I don't think it's going to be able to take the adhesive off. It gets stuck on the blade and causes the issues. Karen asks, can you use Dawn soap and those smiley face sponges to clean mats, or is that sponge too abrasive? I know what you're talking about, like Mr. Daddy or something like that. I've seen them at Lowe's. I've never used those sponges. They like have a little smiley face. I don't know. I don't know if you can use those. Does anybody know in chat? I don't even know what they're made out of. I have no idea. I just thought I've seen them and they're like, oh, those are cute, but I don't know what they are. So I don't know. Someone says the link is broken for the hack. Maybe it's supposed to be, let me just check it right now. Sorry, buddy. I swore I checked it earlier. Let's see. I'm going to work on that right now. Cricut hacks. And I can fix it right now if it's not broken. It worked. jennifermaker.com/Cricut hacks. It's fine. This link works, right? Did you guys do it? Scrub Daddy. Thank you, Sonnet. That's it. And then someone says it's too strong. Scrub Buddy. Okay, I think it's Scrub Daddy because it's got Daddy in the name. Okay, they're saying don't use it. Don't use Scrub Daddy on your mats. It's probably like abrasive, right? So that makes sense. Okay, I have time for a couple more. I might be a little late to the 4 o'clock class. Sorry, everybody. We got to get this all cleared off and get the things on there. I'm going to take 2 more questions. Marie says, when working a project with the scoring stylus, is it possible to get it to go deeper? Yes. What you want to do is duplicate your score lines, maybe even do it again. So you have a couple duplicates, line everything up, center it, attach it all. Now it will score, and it'll score again in the exact same spot, and maybe again in the same spot, and that will create a deeper score each time you do it. So that's what I did before there was a scoring wheel and I needed a deep score. And let's see here. I'm looking for what is the best way to cut a puzzle using the Cricut. That's an easy one because I just did a tutorial on that. right? It's not one that's coming up. Yes, that one is ready. In the advanced program now, we release everything early. So sometimes I get confused about when things have come up, but I just did a tutorial on how to cut a puzzle on a Cricut. I actually had done one a few years ago, and we revisited it because so many of you want to make puzzles. So look for that on the channel. I think it was only a couple weeks ago, and it will give you all the tips that you need and also tell you what to avoid, because there's a lot of things to avoid when you make a puzzle. All right, I'm going to check do I have any broken links right now? Are all links working right now? Let me know, everybody. The Cricut hacks didn't send me the list. Is the link not working? It just worked for me. And I also tested it earlier. It seemed fine. Glenda says if you break your little adapter inside your holder, you can get a new one. I know. That's the first time I've ever broken it. So, but I do know that Cricut will send you a new one, or you can buy one if it's out of warranty or something. The hacks aren't opening for me either. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. Hey, Greg, will you try going to jennifermaker.com/Cricut hacks and let me know if it works for you? Sonnen says it works. The attachment wasn't there. You have to click the button. Right? So there's the email says click here, and if you click there, it shows up on your screen. So in the email. So try that. But you know what I can do too is if you're not getting it, I can always go back and I can check the email. But go back to your email right now. Go back to the email. There should be a button that says click here to get your cheat sheet or whatever. I mean, I set it up right before today's video, so I could totally have messed it up, but it did work for me. I see people saying it worked for them. So the link wasn't working because there were smiley faces on it. Oh, I see. So it's probably, oh, I see. So whoever's putting the link into the chat on our team, take the smiley face off because it's causing issues with the link. Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, good to know that. I appreciate that. Thank you. We will make sure not to put the little smiley face or the little heart on it. Okay, cool. All right, then this is a great time for me to wrap up. So don't forget about Maker Academy weekends. Come join us. It's going to be so much fun. We have giveaways. We are giving away a dream box. We're giving away Cricuts. We're giving away printers. I love giving things away. I hope to see you all there. It's going to be awesome. And this video, I will likely edit it. So if you come back later and my mistakes aren't in it, don't be alarmed. I try, because this is a long video, I try to edit it down so it's easier for people to watch. So I just usually do that. So don't be surprised. I'm not trying to hide. I just like it to be easier for people to watch. It's that simple. Okay, so our next class is at this link, or check your email if you have a ticket. I sent you the link already. It is on Amazon Live. Okay, so I put it on Amazon Live because I can actually link to each item I'm talking about, and you can see it. You can click on it. You can get more information. Even if you don't want to buy it there, you can get all the details. I can't do that here on YouTube, Facebook, right? But I can there. So that link will take you to Amazon Live. And we'll just talk about, I'm going to go through the projects for the Cricut things, and we're going to talk about some of the unique supplies and tools that they use, so you can see exactly what I use and you can ask me questions, okay? So thank you all so much for joining me in our video today. If you have any questions I didn't answer, feel free to leave them in the chat or the comments below this video. We read all of our comments. You can also come to our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/Cricut Crafters and post your question there. It is an awesome group. It truly is. And that's it for today. Tomorrow, I'll be back to share all the things that all the tips and tricks and hacks for sublimation that I wished I'd known sooner too. So until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.